Carl Jung warned us of opposites, that every light casts a shadow, and every shadow waits to be integrated. The narcissist hides from their shadow. The empath, when cornered, learns to embrace theirs. The narcissist believes themselves untouchable, a hunter without prey, a king without rival, the apex predator of the human psyche, armed with charm, deception, and the mask of perfection. But here is the secret the narcissist refuses to consider. The greatest threat to their empire is not another narcissist. It is the empath. Not the empath who bends, who bleeds, who endlessly forgives. No, the true danger emerges when the empath finally awakens, when they snap, not in blind rage, but in revelation. Because the narcissist manipulates with illusion, and the awakened empath wields the one weapon no mask can survive: unflinching truth. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will fully understand why a fed-up empath is more dangerous than the narcissist ever imagined. Not louder, not crueler, but sharper, unstoppable, whole. This is not the story of good versus evil. That binary is too small. This is the story of reflection. The narcissist is not a villain out of myth, but a fractured soul. A self fragmented, forever constructing a mask to conceal the hollow center beneath. They control not by power, but by denying reality itself. The empath is not a saint either. They are a self expanded beyond ordinary limits, forever absorbing the pain of others. They heal not by ignoring reality, but by plunging too deeply into it, often at the cost of their own strength. At first glance, the equation looks simple. The narcissist dominates, the empath suffers. The narcissist shines, the empath dims. But Jung reveals the hidden twist. When the empath integrates their shadow, when they embrace anger without becoming consumed by it, when they claim boundaries without guilt, when they harness will without apology, the balance flips. The empath becomes whole, the narcissist remains fractured, and in that moment, the empath becomes far more dangerous. This is the story of how prey becomes sovereign. Let us imagine the following parables. First, imagine a toxic dance. The narcissist leads, demanding attention, validation, control. The empath follows, giving, soothing, explaining, absorbing. Step after step, year after year. The narcissist grows stronger, fattened on borrowed energy. The empath grows weaker, drained by the endless feeding. But then, one evening, after yet another argument where reality was denied, the empath hesitates. Just one beat, one step back. They see the pattern, they see the mask, they see the hollowness behind the bravado, and something inside them breaks, not with a scream, but with clarity. I see you, and I am done dancing. At that moment, the narcissist's grip disintegrates, because without a willing partner, the narcissist starves. This is one parable, but let us stretch further. Parable 2, the parent and the child. A narcissistic parent demands excellence, obedience, constant admiration. The child, an empath by nature, bends, becomes the good listener, the emotional sponge, the family peacekeeper. But one day, perhaps in their 30s or 40s, the child as adult recognizes the love they sought was never coming. They stop contorting, stop trying, stop explaining. They stand apart. And suddenly the parent panics. For the first time, they are forced to face silence. No audience, no mirror, just their own echo. Parable 3, the workplace predator. In the office, the narcissist thrives by belittling, claiming credit, sowing confusion. The empath takes on extra work, soothes conflicts, sacrifices weekends, until the empath one day declines, quietly. No confrontation, just no. The narcissist rages, sensing collapse. For without the empath's compliance, their empire of control has no foundation. Across all three parables, the pivot is identical: recognition, refusal, release. The empath, once blind in service, sees, and once they see, they can no longer unsee. This is the archetypal shift Jung described. The repressed shadow awakens, and the power dynamic inverts. The predator is revealed as dependent. The prey becomes sovereign. To understand why the empath becomes more dangerous than the narcissist, you must reframe the battle. It is not strength versus weakness. It is wholeness versus fracture. The narcissist refuses their shadow. They project their rage, insecurity, and fear onto everyone else. The empath, in time, accepts their shadow. They integrate anger into clarity, fear into caution, and sorrow into depth. The narcissist runs from reality. The awakened empath stands in it, and reality, when wielded without apology, is far deadlier than illusion. Let us reframe further. The narcissist is addicted to denial. The empath, once awakened, is addicted to truth. The narcissist demands an audience. The empath, when healed, needs no audience at all. The narcissist survives only by consuming. The empath survives by creating. Which is more dangerous in the long run, the one who manipulates reality, or the one who becomes reality's mouthpiece? The empath does not shout. They reveal. They do not fight. They withdraw. And in that silence, the narcissist crumbles. Carl Jung described the persona as the mask we wear to meet the world. For most people, the persona is a flexible costume, professional at work, tender at home, formal with strangers. But for the narcissist, the mask is everything. There is no true face beneath, only fragments. The narcissist's story begins in childhood wounds, shame too overwhelming to bear, rejection too piercing to process. In defense, the psyche builds a glittering facade, the perfect self, the admired self, the untouchable self. Behind the mask, terror, a fear of being ordinary, unseen, unworthy. But the tragedy is this: the mask consumes the wearer. Over time, the narcissist forgets there was ever a real self behind it. They cling to the illusion, demanding others reflect it back, because without constant reflection, they risk collapse. This is why they gaslight, why they rage, why they charm and then discard. Each act is a desperate attempt to maintain the mask. Without fuel, without validation, the mask slips, and the void beneath yawns open. And yet, the narcissist will never face that void willingly. They would rather shatter relationships, sabotage careers, even burn their own life to the ground, than face the truth they buried decades ago. If the narcissist is born from fragmentation, the empath is born from expansion. From childhood, the empath feels more. Every glance, every silence, every unspoken tension hums like static in their nervous system. They grow up as emotional translators, decoding the moods of parents, smoothing conflicts between siblings, sensing danger before it arrives. The gift is immense. They can heal, comfort, inspire. They become the friend everyone confides in, the partner who always understands, the colleague who carries the team's weight. But the gift is also a curse. Because the empath's radar is always on, they absorb not only joy, but also pain. They carry the emotions of others as if they were their own, often drowning in the weight of sorrows that were never theirs to begin with. And here lies the danger. The empath mistakes absorption for love. They believe sacrificing themselves will save the other. They believe endurance is strength. This makes them the perfect prey for the narcissist. For the narcissist offers what the empath longs to hear: admiration, recognition, belonging. The empath gives, the narcissist takes. The cycle begins. But cycles have breaking points. And when the empath finally claims the right to feel their own anger, their own grief, their own limits, that burden becomes a weapon. The empath realizes, I was never weak, I was training. So here we stand at the threshold. The narcissist, forever fractured, forever mask-bound. The empath, forever absorbing, until they awaken. The question is no longer why the empath is more dangerous, it is how. How does the empath dismantle illusion with truth? How do they invert the power dynamic with a single refusal? And what happens when the mask meets the mirror? In Part 2, we will descend into the taxonomy, the precise differences between narcissist and empath, each contrast a blade sharper than the last. And we will witness the moment of inversion, the silence that collapses empires. Because the empath's awakening is not loud, it is quiet. And quiet, when it holds truth, is the most dangerous sound of all. Let us now draw the contrasts, each point a blade, each blade cutting away illusion. Because what makes the empath dangerous is not aggression, it is contrast. Where the narcissist fractures, the empath integrates. Where the narcissist consumes, the empath creates. Where the narcissist hides, the empath reveals. These are not minor differences. They are fault lines, each one capable of collapse. 1. Mask versus mirror. The narcissist hides behind a mask, terrified of being truly seen. The empath lives as a mirror, reflecting the unspoken truths of others. Danger. When the mirror refuses to reflect, the mask shatters. 2. Consumption versus withdrawal. The narcissist feeds endlessly, like a parasite attached to the psyche of others. The empath provides endlessly, pouring life into empty vessels. Danger. The moment the empath withdraws, the narcissist collapses into starvation. 3. Shadow denial versus shadow integration. The narcissist projects their rage, insecurity, and fear onto everyone else. The empath eventually embraces theirs, wielding anger as clarity and grief as depth. Danger. Integration creates wholeness. The fractured narcissist cannot compete. 4. Illusion versus truth. The narcissist controls with illusion, gaslighting, lies, distortion. The empath sees through illusion, speaking truth with surgical precision. Danger. One well-placed truth dismantles years of manipulation. 5. Dependency versus autonomy. The narcissist cannot exist without an audience. They wither in solitude. The empath, once awakened, thrives in solitude. They need no witness. Danger. Autonomy makes the empath untouchable. 6. Inflation versus depth. The narcissist inflates themselves, grandiose, untouchable, false divinity. The empath grows deep, layered, connected to unconscious waters. Danger. Depth erodes inflation the way ocean erodes stone. 7. Domination versus resonance. The narcissist seeks to dominate, to bend others into submission. The empath seeks resonance, connection, authenticity, alignment. Danger. When resonance replaces domination, control evaporates. 8. Amnesia versus memory. The narcissist forgets their betrayals as soon as they commit them. The empath remembers every detail, every contradiction, every wound. Danger. Memory becomes evidence. The empath holds the archive of truth. 9. Rigidity versus adaptability. The narcissist must hold the mask rigid, no matter how false. The empath adapts, shifting, learning, growing. Danger. Adaptability defeats rigidity. Evolution defeats fossilization. 10. Fear versus courage. The narcissist is ruled by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of shame, fear of exposure. The empath, when awakened, embodies courage, not absence of fear, but presence in spite of it. Danger. Courage disarms fear, and once fear is revealed, the narcissist shrinks. Each contrast is a fracture. Each fracture, when pressed, reveals the truth. The narcissist is not predator, but parasite. And the empath is not prey, but seed. The narcissist believes control is eternal. They believe the empath will always bend, always bleed, always stay. But the empath holds the secret weapon: choice. The narcissist cannot exist without others. Their identity collapses in solitude. The empath, once awakened, thrives in solitude. They can walk away. This is the moment of inversion, when the empath realizes they do not need the narcissist, but the narcissist cannot survive without them. Jung described this phenomenon as enantiodromia, when one extreme, pushed to its limit, inevitably flips into its opposite. Too much repression leads to eruption. Too much dependence leads to collapse. For the empath, the inversion is quiet but absolute. No shouting, no spectacle, just refusal. A refusal to feed the mask, a refusal to carry the wound, a refusal to explain the unexplainable. And in that silence, the narcissist's empire crumbles, because the empath, unlike the narcissist, carries wholeness within. And wholeness always outlasts illusion. The narcissist lives in reflection. Without an audience, they are nothing. The empath is the perfect mirror, sensitive, attentive, reflecting back exactly what the narcissist needs to maintain the mask. This is why the narcissist clings so tightly, punishes so brutally when the empath withdraws. But what happens when the mirror refuses? When the empath stops explaining, stops defending, stops reflecting, the mask disintegrates. For the narcissist, the mirror was never just a reflection, it was oxygen. And the empath learns a paradoxical truth: their silence is louder than the narcissist's rage. The empath does not fight the narcissist in public battles. There are no swords, no armies, no thrones at stake. The war is silent. It unfolds in looks, in pauses, in choices withheld. The narcissist demands explanation. Why are you so cold? Why are you pulling away? The empath responds with stillness. The narcissist escalates, threats, tears, promises. The empath holds the line, and the narcissist, once the master of manipulation, feels the terror of starvation. For without fuel, they are no one. The silent war is not about victory, it is about endurance. The empath does not win by striking harder, they win by not striking at all. Consider the ancient myth. Narcissus, the beautiful youth, falls in love with his own reflection. Echo, cursed to repeat the words of others, wastes away in silence, her body fading until only her voice remains. On the surface, this is the story of vanity. But beneath it lies Jung's archetypal pattern. The narcissist is Narcissus, lost in the illusion of self, unable to love anything real. The empath is Echo, absorbing, repeating, reflecting, until nothing is left of their own identity. But what if Echo refused? What if she stopped echoing? What if she chose silence not as curse, but as weapon? Narcissus would no longer hear confirmation. The illusion would dissolve. The reflection would lose power. This is the inversion. Echo becomes dangerous not by fighting Narcissus, but by refusing to echo him at all. Now we arrive at the hinge. We have seen the anatomy of the narcissist. We have carried the burden of the empath. We have traced the fault lines, the contrasts, the moments of inversion. But knowing is not enough. Jung taught that awareness must be embodied. Integration is not a theory, it is a practice. So in part 3, we will enter the protocol, the steps by which the empath transforms from victim to sovereign. Recognition, withdrawal, integration, boundaries, narrative seizure. And then we will watch the collapse, the narcissist unraveling, the empath weaponizing wholeness. The hunter becomes the hunted, the predator becomes exposed, and the mask, at last, crumbles. Awakening is not an accident, it is a sequence. Carl Jung warned that what remains unconscious governs our lives from the shadows. For the empath, awakening means bringing shadow to light, and then choosing action. The protocol is not theory, it is a path. Each step carves a fracture in the narcissist's control. Step 1. Recognition. See the narcissist for what they are, not wounded, not helpless, not in need of your saving. They are choosing the mask. Naming the pattern is the first act of sovereignty. Recognition strips away glamour. You stop excusing abuse as hurt people hurting people. You call it what it is, a mask maintained at your expense. Step 2. Withdrawal of fuel. Every argument, every defense, every explanation is oxygen to the narcissist's fire. Stop feeding it. Do not argue. Do not justify. Do not explain. Withdraw. Indifference is lethal. Where rage once burned, silence leaves ash. Step 3. Shadow integration. This is the hardest step. To face your own anger, grief, and fear. To admit you feel hatred. To admit you want revenge. To admit you have darkness. But Jung taught, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your rage is not a curse, it is clarity. Your grief is not weakness, it is depth. Your fear is not failure, it is protection. Integrate them, and you become whole. Step 4. Boundary fortification. Once you have integrated shadow, you must defend your perimeter. Decide. What will you never again tolerate? Where will you never again bend? Defend it with silence, with distance, with consequence. The narcissist is undone not by confrontation, but by barriers they cannot cross. Step 5. Narrative seizure. Take back your story. Narcissists thrive by hijacking your narrative, casting you as villain, servant, or fool. You must reclaim authorship. Speak your truth. Write it. Live it. Let no mask define you. Narrative seizure robs the narcissist of their stage. Without your participation, their script disintegrates. Step 6. Emotional decoupling. This is where you sever the psychic umbilical cord. The narcissist's emotions are not yours to carry. Their rage is not your responsibility. Their despair is not your burden. You watch without absorbing. You witness without drowning. Decoupling is the empath's emancipation. Step 7. Strategic withdrawal. Not all wars are fought on the battlefield. Some are won by walking away. The empath must learn the art of leaving, not in rage, not in spectacle, but in silence. Withdraw from the toxic dance. Let the narcissist spin alone. Their collapse will follow. Step 8. Creation of center. Wholeness requires a center. The empath must cultivate solitude, not as exile, but as sanctuary. Meditation, article, journaling, ritual. Each practice roots you in yourself. Each act reminds you, I am enough. Without a center, the empath is prey. With a center, the empath is untouchable. Step 9. Projection reversal. The narcissist projects their shadow onto you. Your final step is to refuse it. Their rage is not your rage. Their shame is not your shame. Their emptiness is not your emptiness. You return their projection to sender. You hold only what is yours. And in that moment, you are whole. Here lies the inversion. The narcissist believed the empath was weak because they absorbed everything. But absorption was training. Every wound catalogued, every lie remembered, every contradiction mapped. And when the empath awakens, they weaponize that knowledge. The narcissist can no longer manipulate them, because they have already seen every move. The gaslight no longer blinds. The rage no longer terrifies. The silence no longer shames. The hunter becomes the hunted. The predator becomes exposed. The mask crumbles. The empath stands, not as victim, not as savior, but as sovereign. Whole, integrated, dangerous. The narcissist cannot survive without fuel. When the empath withdraws, collapse is inevitable. At first, rage, explosive, theatrical, they hurl accusations, threats, tears. But rage requires audience. Without response, it withers. Then bargaining, promises of change, declarations of love, pleas for another chance. But bargaining requires belief. Without trust, it fails. Finally, despair. the narcissist faces their greatest terror: solitude. For without reflection, they confront the void behind the mask. But unlike the empath, the narcissist cannot integrate shadow. They cannot sit with pain. They cannot grow roots. They only know masks. And without fuel, masks disintegrate. The collapse is not dramatic. It is pitiful, a hollow shell, empty of reflection, screaming into silence. But here lies the danger. Power corrupts. The empath, newly awakened, may feel intoxicated by their own strength. For the first time, they are untouchable. For the first time, the narcissist fears them. And shadow whispers, "Use it! Crush them! Make them suffer as you suffered." Here the empath risks over-identification with shadow. They may become cruel, vindictive, consumed by revenge. They may weaponize truth without compassion, turning into the very thing they once fled. Jung warned of inflation, the danger of believing oneself more than human after touching archetypal power. When the empath identifies with the avenger, they risk losing their humanity. The goal is not reversal of cruelty. The goal is transcendence. Carl Jung was clear: individuation, the process of integrating shadow, is perilous. The danger is not failure, but possession. The archetype of the warrior, the avenger, the truth-teller can possess the empath. They may become grandiose, self-righteous, inflated. Jung called this archetypal possession, when the human self is swallowed by a role larger than life. The empath must remember, you are not the mask. You are not the mirror. You are the one who sees both. Hold the power, wield it with clarity, but do not become it. Now we stand at the final threshold. We have traced the anatomy of the narcissist. We have carried the burden of the empath. We have walked the protocol, witnessed the collapse, felt the intoxicating danger of shadow power. But this is not just personal. It is collective. Families, workplaces, nations, cultures. The narcissist-empath dynamic shapes them all. The battle between narcissist and empath is not confined to bedrooms, boardrooms, or family kitchens. It is the blueprint of culture itself. At the personal level, an awakened empath ends a toxic relationship. At the collective level, awakened empaths dismantle narcissistic systems. Families built on silence, workplaces built on exploitation, cultures built on illusion. Because narcissism is not just a personality disorder, it is an age. Everywhere you look, masks, performances, illusions. A society addicted to appearance, starving for substance. The narcissist thrives because the culture is narcissistic, and the empath suffers because the culture despises depth. But when empaths awaken, they destabilize not just individuals, but systems. They withdraw their fuel from governments that lie, corporations that exploit, movements that manipulate. The empath's truth is not just personal, it is revolutionary. We live in the age of the mask. Social media demands it. The perfect image, the curated life, the endless self-promotion. Consumerism thrives on it. Buy the illusion, hide the void. Politics rewards it. Leaders as performers, nations as brands. It is a culture of narcissism, where the mask is mistaken for the face, where illusion is mistaken for truth. And what of the empath in this age? Overwhelmed, bombarded, absorbing the collective pain of a society that denies it has any. The empath feels the grief behind the filters, the despair behind the slogans, the hollowness behind the wealth. But if they awaken, if they integrate shadow, if they stand in truth, then the culture itself begins to crack. Because narcissism depends on silence, it depends on endless reflection. When enough mirrors refuse, the illusion collapses. The narcissistic age ends not with violence, but with refusal, with millions of empaths quietly saying, "No more." But danger remains, for power cuts both ways, revenge addiction. The empath may discover the intoxicating pleasure of revenge. to use truth as a blade, to humiliate the narcissist, to make them starve. But revenge, like fire, consumes the one who wields it. Shadow over-identification. The empath may cling to their anger, mistaking it for strength, but anger without compassion becomes cruelty. Shadow must be integrated, not enthroned. Paranoia. Once awakened, the empath may see narcissists everywhere, suspecting friends, partners, strangers. They may isolate unnecessarily, projecting shadow outward instead of inward. Martyrdom 2.0. Some empaths, having escaped, define themselves only as the one who survived. They build a new identity from victimhood, never transcending it. False guru syndrome. Others, inflated by their awakening, may cast themselves as prophets, demanding followers, preaching superiority, repeating the very narcissism they escaped. The goal is not inversion. The goal is transcendence. How then does the empath remain sovereign? How do they prevent relapse into the old dance? 1. Daily truth check-ins. Ask, where am I lying to myself? Illusion creeps silently. Daily honesty keeps the mask at bay. 2. Boundary audits. Ask, where am I giving away energy without choice? Reclaim it. Protect it. 3. Shadow dialogues. Write, speak, meditate. Meet your anger. Meet your grief. Meet your fear. Do not repress. Do not indulge. Integrate. 4. Creative release. Channel raw energy into art, work, vision. What is not expressed becomes poison. Creation purifies. 5. Sacred solitude. Return often to silence. Alone, you remember, I am whole without reflection. 6. Witnessing communities. Surround yourself with those who honor truth, not illusion. Empaths thrive in resonance, not performance. 7th ritual of refusal. Practice saying no. Not with anger, not with apology, with finality. Refusal is sacred. With these habits, the empath maintains sovereignty, not as occasional awakening, but as permanent state. And now the question turns to you. Who are you in this story? Are you still the empath who bleeds for the narcissist, who bends, who absorbs, who echoes until nothing remains? Or are you the empath who has awakened, integrated, transcended? Jung warned, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The narcissist hides from darkness. They flee it, project it, deny it. The empath, when awakened, embraces it. And that is why the empath becomes more dangerous, because wholeness always conquers fracture. You are not mask, you are not mirror, you are the one who sees both and chooses wholeness. So ask yourself now, have you awakened? And if so, what will you do with the power of truth? If this spoke to you, share your awakening story below. When did you stop feeding the narcissist? What truth shattered the mask? In the next video, we will explore Jung's most chilling revelation, why spiritual awakening can kill your motivation if you let it. Because awakening is not the end, it is the beginning. And the next danger is not the narcissist outside you, but the void within you.